Hey everybody, it's Angela and I am back with another process video, and for this one I'm going to use that DCWV paper stack, and I've just taken this blue houndstooth paper out of there and that's what I'm going to use as my background. And I had this leftover scrap in there. It must have been from when I did a previous layout using that stack, and I'm just going to cut out this shape and also put it in the background just to break up some of that blue. And I like the blue in this collection because it goes pretty well with my granddaughter's shirt there. And then I don't really care for the polka dots on that background paper, so I'm going to cover them up with a strip of this yellow. I have this scrap of yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and take that because it matches my other granddaughter's shirt. And the picture I have here is just a series of 3 photographs. My granddaughters were with me one evening sitting on the couch and they wanted to take selfies. So we just kind of made some silly faces, and so I wanted to go ahead and make a layout using these. So I'm just going to trim those out and leave them all connected like that. And I'm going to go ahead and mat my photo. At first I go to mat it on this floral because I thought, well, this floral brings in all the colors I want to use in the layout. But it just looked, as soon as I got it on there, it just looked too busy right up next to the photo. So I thought what I would do instead is peel this off, and it fought me the whole way. But I eventually get that peeled off and re-glue it to that piece of red paper. So I put just a tiny sliver of red right around the photo to really frame it in and to give it a little bit of breathing space. And then I go ahead and mat that on top of the floral, which brings in all the colors that I'm going to use on this layout. So I'm just going to go ahead, and there's some little nibs because this paper pad, you kind of tear them out. They're perforated, so it leaves little nibs on there, and I just wanted to trim those off. This paper stack is actually from 2013, so this one's a pretty old one, and I don't have any other things that go with this paper collection, so I'm just going to use more of the papers and my die cuts to make a whole bunch of embellishments to decorate this page with. So there, I go ahead and get everything glued down, so I'm really liking that as my background. And I look through, there's some cut apart sheets that go with this paper stack, and I really love this little sentiment here. This is something like, when I see you, my eyes turn into little hearts, or something like that. And it's really cute. So I wanted to go ahead and use that as my title block. So I'm just going to trim it down a little bit, tighten it up. And at first I was going to put it on the right, but it looked a little cluttered over there, so I go ahead and decide to put it on the left of my photo strip. So I like that pop of red there. And then here are the flowers. I've already glued them together. These are ones that I die cut using my dies. And I pull the dies over here into frame here in a second just so you can see the different dies I used. I used that string bow die, all these various flower dies. A lot of those came from AliExpress. The purple one is from Hot Off the Press. I have some little leaf fronds, you know, that's just pretty generic. And I just went ahead and cut them out from papers in the paper stack and just glued them together using my hot glue. So I love using flowers on layouts, and I love just kind of cascading them around the page. I think this type of layout right here is one of my favorite type to do. It just goes together so easy and it flows really well, and I just love the look of it. And yeah, so I really enjoyed putting this layout together. So since my flowers are going to have a lot of dimension, I didn't feel that I really needed to put my photo or this title block up on any kind of foam tape. But the block was still looking, well, blocky. So I go ahead and I get out my corner rounder, and I thought that would just give it a little bit more of a finished look. And I think it's a small detail, but it did seem to make a difference to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and layer that over here to the left of my photos. Now I'm going to start arranging so I can glue down all of these flowers. And again, I'm just going to use my hot glue, stack some of the flowers together. So I'm really liking this kind of cascading from the upper left down to the lower right. Just kind of making sure to intersperse those colors evenly throughout the cascade of flowers. And I tried to keep, like where my granddaughter's shirt is yellow, I tried to put a red flower next to that instead of the yellow flower. And so I just try to think of those kinds of things when I'm arranging the flowers on the page. So this went together really quickly. I think the whole thing took me like half an hour, and the longest part was just finding the paper pad I wanted to use and die cutting the flowers. But the rest of it, just as soon as I got that done, it just came together so quickly. So now I'm going through, I'm pulling some of those little fronds that I had cut out, and I'm just going to place a few of those just to kind of soften everything up and kind of tie it together. I'm just going to put a few dots of glue right at the base of the frond and then kind of just let it turn up on the ends just to give more dimension. Some of them I'm just gluing together as a little group and sticking them in there. So I go ahead and I place all of those. And then I think, well, what else am I going to add to this? What other texture can I bring in? And so at first I think about puffy stickers, but I didn't really have much that would work very well. So I went to my phrase stickers, and I'm looking through here, and I couldn't, there was a red one, but it didn't really match very well. So I thought, in order, because it was hard to match the colors, I figured I'd just go with gold. So I have these are Maggie Holmes gold phrase stickers, and they have white lettering on them, so it worked perfect with the white background. And I'm just going to layer some of those going through the cascade. Had a lot of cute little sentiments that seem to work good with this. So I go ahead and put those down. And I think I try some of these puffy stickers, but I think I pull them back up because I was going to use them as flower centers, but they just look kind of dull, and the colors weren't quite right. So I place a few of them, and then I'm like, no, this just really isn't working for me. So I go ahead and I put those back away to use on a future layout. So instead, for my flower centers, I think, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to use my enamel dots. And I had the same issue with the enamel dots as I did with the like the word phrase stickers and stuff. It was really hard to match to these colors. That kind of red was kind of an orangey red. The yellow was the yellow I could find, like I had these that were kind of golden yellow. So I thought, you know what, since I've already put the touches of gold in those phrase stickers, I started looking for some gold ones, and I do find some that will work. The little squares that I pulled out there on the right were somewhat small, so these little DIY ones were a little bit larger, so I thought they'd look better on there. So I'm going to go ahead and take those, just put a little dot of hot glue down, and then put the enamel dot, just because these are pretty old and I don't know how well they'll stay on the page. So I go ahead and get those all put down. And then there was a lot of little glue strands, so the best way to get rid of little hot glue strands is to just run your heat gun over them, and they just kind of melt away. So I did that, and then I noticed I forgot one flower center there, so I go ahead and get that one put in there. And I'm just looking at it thinking, what else can I add to this? And, I'm really liking the look of it. So I think, what, I'll just put some gold Heidi Swapp color shine on there. So I pull that out. And there's not much left in that bottle, but enough to do some sprinkles. I just kind of cascade those all around. Like I said, this came together so quickly, but it looks pretty intricate. I think because of all those flowers, it gives it a lot of detail. So I'm just going to dry up my little sprinkles here a little bit so I don't accidentally smear them. And then I think that I'm finished. So I go ahead and I go in here for the close-ups. And there's the top cluster with a little XO in there, and then Love You More. There's little sprinkles, the flowers, the little fronds. This is sweet, so cute, loving this right now. And so that is pretty much my completed layout. And then when I zoom back out here to finish my video, I realize I see over on the right hand side that I had made a little string bow out of that paper as well, and I had already assembled it, and I forgot to put it in the layout. So when I see it, I think, oh, well, maybe I can go ahead and get this put in there after the fact, even though I didn't design it in there. I think about putting it there. I try it a couple different places. That one, it hit it a little bit too much. And I kind of liked the string bow because it kind of matches that font on the title block there, because that font has kind of a loopy, casual feel to it, just like this bow does. So I go ahead and put that here kind of next to it under that flower, and then I go ahead and I take another one of these gold dots and put that on there, and then that is actually my final layout. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything, just leave me a comment down below, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!